For decades, Pakistan International Airlines was more than just an airline. It was a flying symbol of Pakistan's ambition, professionalism, and connection with the world. In the 1960s and 70s, PIA trained foreign crews, introduced modern jet services in Asia, and earned respect across continents. But as the years passed, pride slowly turned into disappointment. Over the last 20 years, PIA's story has become a case study in how political interference, mismanagement, and weak accountability can destroy even the most prestigious national institutions. This is not just the story of planes and routes, it is the story of how power, favoritism, and neglect replaced merit and vision. Successive governments treated PIA as a political tool rather than a commercial airline, using it to reward loyalists with jobs and positions, regardless of competence. The result was chronic overstaffing, where PIA reportedly employed far more workers per aircraft than successful international airlines. Instead of investing in fleet modernization, customer service, and operational efficiency, resources were drained into salaries, perks, and poorly planned routes. Each year, losses mounted, but reforms remained cosmetic. While global airlines were becoming competitive, digital, and customer-focused, PIA remained trapped in outdated systems and a culture resistant to change. For ordinary Pakistanis, especially overseas workers and families, PIA was still a lifeline, but delays, cancellations, and declining service quality became routine. Behind every late flight was not just inconvenience, but a deeper structural failure. An airline weighed down by politics instead of lifted by professionalism. The national flag still painted on its tail could no longer hide the reality on the ground, an institution slowly collapsing under the burden of its own mismanagement. As financial pressure grew, PIA's losses turned into an avalanche. Year after year, the airline survived on government bailouts funded by taxpayers, while its debt climbed into hundreds of billions of rupees. Instead of being a revenue-generating national asset, PIA became a financial black hole. Routes that made no commercial sense were kept alive for political reasons, while profitable opportunities were missed due to poor planning and weak marketing. Planes were grounded because spare parts could not be procured on time, and leasing deals often raised questions about transparency. At the same time, reports emerged of internal corruption, from procurement irregularities to questionable appointments in key departments. Many executives came and went, each promising turnaround plans, but most lacked either the authority or the will to challenge entrenched interests. Employee unions, often aligned with political parties, resisted restructuring and downsizing, even when it was clear that the airline could not survive with such a heavy workforce. The culture inside PIA became one where job security was disconnected from performance and accountability was rare. While frontline staff struggled under public criticism, those responsible for strategic failures rarely faced consequences. For passengers, this translated into declining trust. For the country, it meant watching a once respected brand lose its market share to foreign carriers that offered better reliability and service. PIA's financial collapse was not sudden. It was the predictable outcome of years of ignoring reality, postponing reform, and prioritizing politics over performance. Each bailout delayed tough decisions, and each delay made the eventual crisis deeper and more painful. The breaking point for PIA's global reputation came in 2020 after the tragic crash of a domestic flight in Karachi that killed nearly all on board. The nation mourned, but what followed shook public confidence even more. In the aftermath, official statements revealed that dozens of pilots across Pakistan, including many at PIA, were suspected of holding questionable or fake licenses. This disclosure sent shockwaves through the aviation world. International regulators responded by suspending PIA's flights to key destinations, especially in Europe and the UK, dealing a significant blow to revenue and credibility. For thousands of hardworking employees who had nothing to do with the scandal, this was devastating. But for the system that allowed such practices to exist, it was a moment of exposure. How could an airline responsible for hundreds of lives allow licensing and training standards to be compromised? Investigations pointed toward failures in oversight, weak regulatory systems, and a culture where shortcuts were tolerated. Even more disturbing for the public was the perception that while pilots and lower level staff faced scrutiny, those who enabled or ignored the system escaped serious accountability. The ban cost PIA billions in lost revenue and pushed it further toward collapse. More importantly, it shattered whatever trust remained in the airline's commitment to safety. For many Pakistanis, this was no longer just about mismanagement. It was about lives put at risk because of corruption and negligence. Political interference remained a central theme throughout PIA's decline. Different governments were accused by critics of using the airline to absorb unemployed supporters and expand influence, further inflating its workforce. Over the years, PIA became known as a place where merit took a backseat to connections. Retired military officers, civil servants, and political appointees were frequently placed in senior roles, sometimes bringing discipline but often lacking commercial aviation expertise. Instead of building a stable professional leadership team, PIA saw constant changes at the top, preventing long-term strategy. Each new management blamed the previous one, while the airline continued to sink. The public watched as stories emerged of fake degrees, irregular hiring, and employees drawing salaries without clear roles. Meanwhile, genuine professionals found it hard to work in an environment dominated by pressure groups and political interests. The airline's image became a reflection of the wider governance crisis in the country. Institutions captured by elites, reform blocked by vested interests, and ordinary citizens paying the price. For taxpayers, every bailout felt like pouring money into a broken system. For young Pakistanis, PIA became a symbol of lost potential, proof that even the best institutions can be ruined when accountability disappears. The question many asked was simple. If no one is held responsible for destroying PIA, what hope is there for reforming any other national organization? A historic turning point came in December 2025, when the government finally succeeded in privatizing the airline after years of stalled attempts. In a televised auction, a consortium led by the Arif Habib Group, alongside Fatima Fertilizer Company, City Schools, and Lake City Holdings, won the bid to acquire a 75% stake in Pakistan International Airlines for Rs 135 billion. The government will retain the remaining 25%, and part of the proceeds will be invested back into the airline to support modernization and restructuring efforts. This marks Pakistan's first major privatization of the national carrier in decades and a milestone in broader economic reforms urged by international partners. Some see this now as a hopeful step toward professional governance, operational efficiency, and a future in which PIA can once again compete globally under stronger leadership. Others remain cautious, questioning whether decades of systemic issues can truly be addressed under private management and whether legacy liabilities and cultural problems have been fully resolved. Whatever the outcome, the sale represents a new chapter, one that could redefine the airline's identity and perhaps restore what was once Pakistan's pride in the skies. The rise and fall of PA teaches us that national pride cannot be sustained by sentiment alone. It requires integrity, professionalism, and clear accountability. For Pakistan's next chapter in aviation, these lessons must guide the future. If this story made you think, if it made you question how our national institutions are run, then don't let it end here. Share this video so more people can see the truth. Hit the like button to support independent investigative content, and subscribe to this channel for more documentaries that uncover facts, demand accountability, and give voice to the people. Your comments matter. Tell us what you think. Who do you believe is responsible for the fall of PIA, and can it ever rise again? This channel is not backed by power or politics, it's backed by you. So stay informed, stay aware, and stay with us. Allah Hafiz, and see you in the next documentary.